Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to my war room in Prince George, British Columbia. So, next in our strategy series is Italy. And if you've been picked to play the Italian player, then sorry about your luck. Because Italy is not as much fun to play as most of the other nations. I kind of look at Italy and Anzac in kind of the same way. They both received 10 IPCs and to begin with, and they both are really at the mercy of everybody around them, both friends and foes. How much help is your friends going to give you, and how much grief is your foes going to give you, which is probably for Italy is going to be a lot. Because for me, when I play the Allies, I play a strategy called "Kill Italy First." So don't play the Italian player if you're going to play me, because you won't be playing the game very long. But most people, I think, they go after Germany first or go after Japan first. But I kind of feel like if you could take Italy out of the game, then Italy's kind of like the wild card. You know, the thing that tips the balance of the game for the Axis, and the Axis do have the advantage in the game. But I think it's Italy that tips that balance, and so I figure if I can take out Italy, and they're the easiest one to take out, then I can even up the game. And so, as the Italian player, you got to be mindful of that, and you've got to try to do your best to stay in the game and to stay relevant in the game. And each game is going to be different. I'm going to try to show you some things here, but really, like I said, you're at the mercy of everybody around you. So you can't really make any grand strategies or anything. You just got to react to what else has happened in the game. And by the time you get to play, I think you're like the seventh player to play or something like that. So the board is not going to look like it does right now. You know, Germany is going to go and they're going to take much of Europe, and they're going to be doing awesome. Russia, they're probably not going to do much except for rejig their stuff over there and put some more on. Japan, they're going to do a lot probably. If they do a J1 attack, and if not, then they're gonna beat the crap out of China, um, and then China and the U.S. are going to go, and then the U.K. And it's the U.K. that's really going to do a number on you. They're probably going to take out most of your boats, and so it's up to you really to choose whether you want to lose your air force and take out more of their boats, or whether you want to save your air force to fight at a later time, you know, on your turn or on the next turn. It's really up to you, and that's probably the biggest decision that you're going to make in this game, is what to do with your fighters when it's the UK's first turn. Um, so anyway, let's get into it a little bit here. Let's just show you what we're looking at here. Okay, so you're looking at the Mediterranean, and you see the Roman Colosseum here. This is your capital. I like to use these capital city markers to mark your home territories. And this one's painted red, which means it's a minor complex. And you can see the black factory, which is just north of that. That's a major complex on northern Italy. This is just about everything you have to begin the game with. There's only three more units. You have or four more units. There's these four units down here, and that's the total of what you have to begin this game with. Um, so by the time your turn comes along, these boats will probably be gone. Your battleship, your cruiser, your transport, and probably these boats as well. You have a destroyer and another transport. So the question that I raised earlier is, will you have these two fighters left? Because these two fighters can scramble into the battle that's going to take out these boats. This is called the Taranto raid, when these boats get taken out. And if you're playing against a quality British player, that's probably what they're going to do. If they don't do that, then I think they shit the bed. So you can hope for that. If you got to go before the British player, I mean, you could kick the British player's ass. You got all these boats here, and then you could take these out. You could probably take out some of this stuff down here, but that's not the way it is. You're stuck. You're stuck going last, basically. Only Anzac and France goes after you, and Anzac and you don't fight, and France is a non-factor in this game. So you're basically going last in Europe here. Um, so a lot of what you see there is going to be missing by the time it's your turn, but you can still do some good. But let's get into that decision that you're going to make early in the game. Let's just move over here a bit. Okay, so you have these two fighters here, and probably what's going to happen is this fighter is going to come back down from Slovakia, Hungary, and he's going to be sitting in here because you can scramble your planes into a C zone that's being attacked, um, and you can scramble up to three planes. And so if the German player brings that fighter down there, then what you're doing really is you're going to see how much the UK is going to bring into the Taranto raid. Now they're certainly going to bring these three things in, and this fighter here. Those are all going in there. And if that was all that was going in there, then absolutely bring your three fighters that are sitting there. You're going to take them out. You've got the advantage. But what else is going to happen is there will be a bomber come down from Great Britain, and this is the kicker here. Do they bring this fighter down from the UK? If they don't bring the fighter down, then for sure take all three of those fighters in there, because that's a fairly even fight. It's this fighter here that tips the balance. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't take your fighters in there. This is the decision that you make. Do you want to save your fighters for your turn and for subsequent turns? Or do you want to take as much British stuff off right now as you can? Really, your objective in this fight is to clear the entire Mediterranean of boats, even your own, because you know your boats are not going to survive past the second or third round if they do this raid. And if they also, here I'll just show you, these things are coming over from Gibraltar as well. So these boats are going to be gone. These boats are going to be gone. The question is, how much of this stuff do you want left? You know, that's the big question you've got to ask yourself. Do you like to have the Air Force for yourself, or do you like do you want to have that clear on the British player's turn before you even go? So yeah, it's really a crapshoot. You know, it's all up to rolling dice. If you don't bring those fighters in, you only get 2 dice. You get 1 at 3 for the cruiser and 1 at 4 for the battleship. And of course, the battleship takes 2 hits. But if they're bringing this much stuff in here, then you're going to lose on the first round if you've only got these 2 things. If you bring in the 3 fighters, it'll probably go 2 rounds. And you'll have 1 at 3 and 4 at 4. So you're going to do some damage to these guys. Like you could the best I've seen the Italian player do when they've scrambled their fighters in is the battle is over and the British have 1 bomber surviving. Everything else is dead. And so, you know, that's not bad for both sides. Great Britain, they accomplished their objective of taking those boats out. They've killed the entire Air Force for Italy and 1 plane off of Germany. And the Italians didn't do too bad either, because the only thing left for Great Britain is a bomber. So, you know, that if you do that well, then, you know, like you can take that chance and you can bring your fighters in there. But then again, you know, like you could roll badly and they could roll well. You could lose your Air Force and they could still have a boat left, or they could still have all of their planes left. So I can't recommend one way or another. All I could do is give you these options. These are the options that you have. So make your choice, you know. It's how bold or do you feel? How much have you had to drink tonight? That could have something to do with it too. You tend to be a little bolder if you've had a little bit to drink first. So it's a little tougher to play the game though. So let's just bring these things back to where they were. That's Taranto. And that will probably happen if you're playing against good players. If you're playing a British player, then for sure do that. So so let's assume these boats are gone then, and these boats are gone. You will be left with these boats by the time your turn comes around. You'll have a sub, a transport, destroyer, and a cruiser. And the problem that you're going to have if you didn't take your planes into that fight is that you may still have more British boats left to go. because the cruiser is likely to survive. It might not, but it's likely to survive in that battle down in Malta there. So you're going to have that boat to take out. You're going to have these two French boats that you need to take out. And then you may have these boats that you're going to need to take out as well. Whatever may have survived there. That you might have, because if you've only got these two shots here, then you're lucky to get two boats off. Maybe you get two boats and a plane off. So that's the choice that you make. If I'm playing the Italian player, then you know what, I'm probably going to take those planes in there just to try to get as much stuff off of them as I can. But you know, there are games that I'm not going to do that. You're going to coordinate with the German player, and it depends on what their strategy is as well. It's not likely, but they may have a plan to come down to the Mediterranean with their boats. There's a video that I made in this series earlier a week or two ago where that was the plan, was for them to bring a navy down into the Mediterranean. But that's not something that you see very often. Maybe in the games that you play, maybe the players that you play with, they like to bring boats down like that. I don't know that that's the best strategy. I was just trying something different in that video. But if that's going to happen, then that'll also inform what you're doing and how well did Germany do on their turn, and how many planes did the UK bring down from London. I mean, if they brought a bomber and both fighters, then you know what? I probably wouldn't take those fighters in for sure. I would just let them take out those two boats, because they probably take you out on the first shot, and you're only going to get one shot at taking things off them. They could take two hits on their aircraft carrier, and then they could take a couple of fighters off, and then they're going to be left with more. So, and you're going to be left with no planes. So then with these boats on your turn, if you took these and let's say these are gone, then you also have a bomber as well. So if you took the planes in, then all this stuff is going to be gone. So then you're going to have to deal with a cruiser probably and these two boats, and you can do that. That's doable. You can split them up. You can take these two in here, the cruiser and the sub, and the bomber, and then with the other. Now it is most likely that you're only going to have your boats for one turn. If this is all you have left, if these four boats are all you have left, then you're only going to have those boats for one turn. So you're going to go after the cruiser down here with this one. Let's move this, just move these out of here and move the cruiser back. And you're going to try to take that out. And then you're going to move 2 units down to Africa. Because if you've only got one turn with a cruiser, then you're going to want to bring 2 units to Africa, because that's the last chance you're going to get for the foreseeable future to put units down in Africa. And really that's what the biggest goal that you have is, to try to take Africa and the Middle East. It's not likely that you're going to be able to accomplish that. It's only the odd game where that's going to happen, where the British player is I don't know what the hell he's doing, but you know, if you can beat the British player and take Africa out, then you know that's there's something weird that happened in that game. But that would be your main goal, is to take that. So take your transport down there and take the best units you can. You have to take an infantry. So what I would do is I take the infantry and the tank off of actually I would take the infantry off of southern Italy, and take the tank off of northern Italy and bring them down. And it depends on what you're doing, what's left down here, what the British player did. That's going to inform you as to where to put these. Let's just say you're going to put them here, and put your transport here as well after the cruiser's gone. If you're lucky, that cruiser didn't survive, and so you've got both of these boats, and then you're guaranteed to have the cruiser and when they take their planes after you on their second turn, then you've got a chance of taking the plane off with your cruiser. That's about as much as you can hope for in a normal game. In an abnormal game, you can hope for the moon, right? So what else can you do? That's the Mediterranean. Well, down here, if these troops survive, if they survive the British first turn, then just take what you can. How much of the British are here? It looks like I'm missing a British player here. Let me just throw one on there. So you could go after this guy here. And this one here, he's probably going to survive for sure. I don't see them going and taking this guy out. I see them, if they're going to take anybody out, I see them taking these guys out and not this guy. So this guy is probably going to get to Kenya for sure. And those guys, they can probably take out Anglo Egypt, Sudan. These guys here, they're going to take, if these weren't taken out on the first turn by the British player, these ones can take out Alexandria. And these guys here can take out Tunisia. Do as much damage as you can. Take as much money as you can, because you only start with those 10 IPCs. And then you have your troops over here, these guys here. So it depends on what you've talked about with the German player and what's left after the German turn. The German player is probably going to give you something to take. They may just strafe this one, which means that they're going to try to take a number of these units off to make it easier for you, and then you're going to take that guy out. Or they may just take that and say, you know what, you go ahead and take Southern Europe. So then you can take some money here. Or maybe you can come down and take Greece, or maybe they'll leave you with Bulgaria, in which case all you have to do is walk over there and pick up those guys. I can't tell you what's going to happen. That's between you and the German player, which might also be you. So those are the choices that you have. You definitely don't want to shut out the Italians from getting any money, because they only have access to so much of it. When I showed you here where you brought your 2 units down, another thing you could also do is you could bring them over here and take Greece out, because you have these things, and you could bring those over here and take Greece. But if all you've got is one shot at taking things to Africa, then it's probably a good idea to take things to Africa. You don't have to bring them here. If this cruiser didn't survive, another thing you could do with these is bring them over here, right here, and put them here and take this out. So if you've got Alexandria and Tobruk and Libya and this one, and all you have to do is take out Morocco, what happens is that's a national objective for you. Then that's an extra bonus 5 IPCs that you can get. Plus you've got those 2 units in Algeria, and you had a landing shot with your cruiser at 3. Basically, you're trying to put as many units down there as you can and make it as hard as you can for the UK player to take out Africa, and take as much money as you can. So if you can get that national objective, then that's a good thing. Another national objective for you is taking out all the surface warships in the Mediterranean, and that's probably the most likely thing that you can do, your easiest national objective that you can obtain. And hopefully you get that at the end of the second turn, or even at the end of your first turn. Actually, no, the second turn, I misspoke. It is the end of your first turn. So if you can get these French boats out, and these ones here didn't survive, or you were able to take them out on your turn, then there you go. There's the Mediterranean free of warships, and that's an extra 5 IPCs for you. And then the last national objective, there's 4 territories here. There's Egypt, there's Greece, there's Southern Europe, which is going to be the easiest one to take, and then there's Gibraltar over here, which is isolated. So, there's other than Gibraltar, there's nothing over there, no place you can move or anything like that. But there's those 4 places there. If you own 3 of those, or if you and Germany own 3 of those, then that's a national objective that you've achieved, and that's an extra 5 IPCs. So there's an extra 15 IPCs if you can obtain all of those objectives. And then there's also the Middle East. That's your last one that you can get. Let me just take a look at the card here. So, Iraq, Persia, or Northwest Persia. So over here, if you can take out either Iraq or Persia or Northwest Persia there, that's 2 IPCs for each one of those that you own. And I believe that Germany has that same national objective. But you're going to be hard pressed to get into the Middle East. You're going to have to be having a good game. The one thing that might help you down here is if Germany goes ahead and does a sea lion attack. That's to say that Germany goes for an attack on London. Because if that happens, then the British player is going to have to stack everything they get for the first 2 or 3 turns into Great Britain. That means that they're not putting anything down here. And also, like, if you know they're going for a sea lion attack, then that might be a good idea. That might help inform you whether or not to use your fighters here. But if they go for that sea lion attack, then the British player is not putting any units down here, and it's possible that you could last in this game longer, other than being in Southern Europe. When I mean Southern Europe, I don't mean the territory of Southern Europe. I mean Southern Europe. That's Italy, and that's Southern France, and down in here, and in the Balkans as well. You'll be able to roam around in there, but it's better if you can get across the Mediterranean into Africa or the Middle East. But it's not likely, because you're the Italian player and it sucks to be you. So there's one more thing that you can do. You can't really, once you've taken out Southern Europe, if you get the opportunity to do that instead of Germany, then that's about all you can do over there, because Germany is definitely going to take out Normandy and France. There's one more thing that you can do, and it's a big thing. If you've got nothing else to do, then this will be your strategy, and that is to help Germany out in the fight against Russia. They can do can openers with them. So let's just move a bunch of stuff over there. Let's say it's a few turns in. Actually, let's just put this back here. It's a few turns in, and you've had a chance to move some units over to Romania from Italy, and then you've also moved these units over, and you've moved this tank over, and maybe you've moved this over here. And so that's what you've got now. You better remember to replace this now. Don't want to look like you're too strong, like it was no big thing. So you might be over here with something like this. So, and then Germany, they're stacked up right here too. So you can go 1, 2. Like Italy could go first, and they could take out this. And then Germany can go second. If they got a bunch of tanks on here, then they can go to Ukraine with those tanks. You know what I mean? You're opening the can, and Germany is taking out the food. They're digging in with their spoon. So that's one thing that you can do. You can help out against in the fight against Russia. The Operation Barbarossa, it was called in World War II. So if the best thing you can do is take out Africa and the Middle East, but if you can't do that, if you don't get the opportunity, then that's the second best thing that you can do is help out in Russia. Now, the last thing that I want to tell you about here is that you are going to be vulnerable. Britain is going to have boats left, and might not be these boats, but they'll have boats down here, and they can still go through the Suez Canal. And the Americans, they will be coming over around turn 4 or so, maybe 5, and they will probably be right here over in Gibraltar, right here. So they're going to be in reach of you, and the British boats are always going to be pretty close to being in reach of you. We're talking about your capital here. So even though it looks like you're a long ways away, don't forget to always put stuff on your capital. We're talking lots of dudes there. Northern Italy, sure, yeah, you want to protect that too. But Southern Italy for absolute certain, because if you lose your capital, you lose your money, you lose your ability to put stuff on. Even if you're able to get it back, that's one turn that you did not put anything on. That's one turn where you lost your money, and that's one turn where your opponent had all of your money and got to spend it and put their stuff on. And that's going to tip the balance right there. So, probably the most important thing that you have, as well as everybody on the board, is don't lose your capital. So always take a look. That's the first thing you look at when you're waiting for your turn. That's what you're looking at. You're looking, who can reach my capital. It doesn't matter who you are, whether you're Italy or Japan or Anzac or Great Britain. Who can reach my capital? What can they bring? Because even if it's an even fight, even strength fight, then anybody at any time can say, you know what, I'll take those odds. I'm going to go for it. So make sure that you always have the odds in your favor when it comes to your capital. Uh, it does not hurt you to put something on your capital every single time, whether that's just one dude or whether it's a fighter or whether it's anything. Put something on your capital every time if you can. Don't move too many units over to Russia and leave yourself thin over there, because there are boats that are going to be within reach of you, if not this turn, then the next turn. And you can only put so much on. That's a minor factory there. So you can only put 3 units per turn on your capital. You can move them down, of course, from your major complex in northern Italy, but that's going to take you a turn as well. Always keep an eye on your capital and what can reach it at the most. And remember, like down here, there's a harbor, so you can go 3 spaces from here. Over here is a harbor. I call them harbors, but they're really called naval bases. You can move 3 spaces from there. So you're within reach from C Zone 91 and C Zone 81 over here. You always have to be aware of that. So I don't think there's much more that I can tell you. Italy is a pretty simple thing to play. It's pivotal. It's important, but there's not really a whole lot of things that I can tell you about it. There's no grand strategies that I can give you for it, because really it's up to you just to hang on, unless your opponent is your 5-year-old sister or something. You know, you're not going to have an easy time of it if you're the Italian player. And it's probably, you're not going to just be the Italian player. You're going to be the Germans and the Italians. So you do get to have some fun in the game. You're not just, crying because you're out, you got nothing to do from the 3rd turn on except for be a can opener for somebody else. So you'll probably have some kind of role in the game, greater than just doing that. But if there's a lot of people, then you might just be the Italian player. And like I said to begin with, sorry about your luck. Anyway, that's my strategy video on Italy. Take care, everyone. General Hand Grenade out.